Our TSA advisor is recording, just so everyone else is aware. And if at any time anyone does not feel comfortable of this Zoom town hall being recorded, please let us know. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand this out to Gilbert. He is our, our liaison and our board executive for the Underground Scholar Initiative Subcommittee that we have within the Transfer Student Alliance.
Thank you very much for that, the Safeway. Yes, I am a vice president for the Underground Scholars Initiative at UC Santa Barbara. So far as for so far as with this event that'll be happening, there'll be intel about like the Prop 17 for individuals that have served prison times that are currently on the I guess you could say on the fourth waiver, in the sense of like to be on parole, but we try and restore the rights back toward them in the sense of passing this legislation of the Prop 17. So should we move forward in the sense of talk about the history of USI and the TSA?
You can go ahead and go ahead and talk about the history. For now, I think that for TSA, that's the introduction we have.
Yeah. Okay. Then for Underground Scholars Initiative is consists with
Can you guys hear Gilbert?
what happened?
Okay, I think the audio cut off for a little bit, for a while actually.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we kind of yeah, the Wi-Fi here is not really that great.
That's fine. Totally understand.
Yes. Okay then. So I'm not too sure where I got cut off at.
At the beginning of the history of USI.
Okay then. So I'm gonna try. So the beginning of USI has started off from at the year of 2013 at UC Berkeley. It was two individuals that were formerly incarcerated that came out from Pelican Bay, and they did about like 10 years. How it was interesting that these two individuals on the campus, they kind of like, it was like a gravitational pull, like with that gravitational pull, it have like broad like attractions with like different people from professors, faculty members, because currently at the same time there was a hunger strike was happening as well, which it was a lot of support, especially that gave like what Underground Scholars gave a lot more awareness around that. So to move forward with that, like they came with formerly incarcerated students and system impact. System impacted our students that have family members, friends that are currently incarcerated, because we have to understand economically and emotionally they're doing time with them as well. So to make it fast forward, we have about 13 chapters, not 13 chapters, I apologize. We have various chapters throughout the state of California across different UC systems of institutions, which we are collectively working together around like policies, and around policies, even furthermore, like we try and like implement programs behind the wall as well. And that's pretty much like the legit of like Underground Scholars and like the whole history of it. But yeah, I think we could start moving forward with the what is the Prop 17?
Yeah, so thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Lindsay Ragsdale, and I am a member of the Prop 17 campaign. Specifically, I'm one of the members of the youth engagement team. So we're working on getting students involved in Prop 17 and helping spread the word about Prop 17 to young people. So we're really excited to be here to talk about Prop 17 with Underground Scholars and TSA. And just talk about why it's so important to support Prop 17 and why it's relevant to young people and students. So just an introduction for those who may not know, Prop 17 is a statewide ballot measure, which will be on the ballot on November 3rd or before if you've mailed in your ballot already or have filled it out and dropped it off. Prop 17 is going to restore voting rights to Californians immediately upon release from prison. So that means that it will amend the state constitution to eliminate disenfranchisement for people on parole. Prop 17 started out as ACA 6, which was introduced by Assembly Member Kevin McCarthy and other Assembly members in the California State Assembly as in the legislature. In July, Prop 17 was passed by 2/3 of support of the state legislature to put Prop 17 on the ballot. So it went from a legislative act to a ballot measure, which means that now all of the people in California who vote have the chance to vote on yes or no Prop 17, and we're here to talk about why you should vote yes on 17. So Prop 17, like I said, is going to restore the voting rights to people on parole in California. So as soon as they finish their prison term, they should be, their right to vote should be restored. If you are wondering who is supporting of Prop 17, I'll read you some of the organizations that are part of our coalition, because I think that might help you understand what sorts of groups are excited about Prop 17. So we're partnering with the ACLU of California, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, the Brennan Center for Justice, Initiate Justice, the League of Women Voters, Mi Familia Vota, Vote Allies, White People for Black Lives, and Voting Rights Lab. There are so many organizations that have endorsed Prop 17 as well as these organizations who are working on the campaign. And we also have individuals who have endorsed, such as Gavin Newsom, the governor, climate activist Tom Steyer, John Legend, Bryan Cranston, Snoop Dogg. 10 of the biggest newspapers in California have endorsed Prop 17, in addition to many, many, many other activist criminal justice organizations and things like that. So if you want to know more about who has endorsed Prop 17, you can go to our website, which is yeson17.vote, and you can see more of the endorsers and see who is supported as Prop 17, who's excited about Prop 17. So like I said, Prop 17 will restore the rights to people on parole, voting rights to people on parole. And that number that we have is over 57,000 Californians will be able to vote if Prop 17 is passed. And that's a hugely important number. That's a huge number of people who are disenfranchised, who don't have the right to speak their voices in a democracy that they are contributing to by paying taxes, raising families, working in nonprofits, things like that. And it's time for California to give voting rights to people who are contributing to our communities. Additionally, Prop 17 will help combat voter suppression among Black and Brown communities. Black and Brown communities are historically and continue to be over-policed in California and across the country. They're subject to systemic inequities within the criminal justice system, and not giving voting rights to people on parole is a huge part of systemic racism. And it's extremely important that we are ending this disenfranchisement and really working towards ending these historical Jim Crow laws and talking about real inclusion and real justice, and making our community safer. Civic engagement reduces the likelihood that people will be rearrested. And it allows for civic engagement and having a say in communities that people are already a part of, already paying taxes in, et cetera. They should have a say in the policies that are affecting them, just like the rest of us do. Parole is not a punishment. Parole is the end of a sentence, and the sentences end before parole, and parole should be treated as a punishment as it is now. It's all it is breaking down the voting power of people of color, and it's time that we reintroduce and reintegrate that right into people on parole. It makes democracy fair and more inclusive when more people are involved and more people have the right to vote. And additionally, as you may know, California is one of the most progressive states in the country. We're used to pushing other states in the right direction, and we're behind. 18 other states already have this right, and California needs to catch up and prove itself as one of the most progressive states, pushing other states to be better and do better and be more inclusive. So that's a summary of Prop 17 and what it entails. And then I'm just going to speak a little bit about Students for Prop 17 and why it's important that young people and students are involved in this proposition campaign. So Prop 17, the Students for Prop 17 branch is a group of students who are passionate about being involved with Prop 17 and want other young people to be aware of it as well. This proposition is relevant to students, as we were seeing today with groups like the Underground Scholars Initiative, and students who are pushed into prison through the school to prison pipeline. There are students who are formerly incarcerated. There are students who begin their prison sentence when they are still young. And it's important that we are extending this right to vote to everyone who is affected. As we know, as young people, when you are granted the right to vote when you turn 18, it's an exciting right. It's something that everyone should be able to exercise. And as young people, we're close to that. This is the first presidential election that I'm going to be able to vote in, as I wasn't old enough last time. And so we have firsthand experience of what it's like to be able to vote for the first time. And we know how important it is that this right is extended. Additionally, young people should be at the forefront of the fight for a more equitable democracy. We are the ones that are connected to social media, that are connected to the news, that are having lots of these conversations. And it's so important that in our classes, with our peers, with our families, we're spreading the word about things like Prop 17 and making sure that these historic injustices are righted by voting yes on Prop 17 and working to restore voting rights to the 57,000 plus Californians that deserve the right to vote. So with that, you'll hear much more about Prop 17 later from the panelists who are actually affected by Prop 17, who have personal stories and can tell you a lot more about what it means other than just a bunch of summaries of the actual language of the proposition. And so I will pass it on to the next part of the evening.
That was great. That was great, Lindsay. So as moving forward, I think we should start introducing the panelists. For right now, what I see right now on the gallery view, I see John. Sorry, did I got cut off again?
You're getting cut off a little bit.
Am I, huh?
We can hear you now, though.
I hear you now.
Okay, then so in order for the sake of time, I'm gonna try to make this quickly because the internet be cutting off. So on my first view I see is John. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is John Winham, and I go by him.
Hello.
He. Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I guess he can.
Yeah, I hear you. You're good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, my pronouns he, him, his, king, formerly incarcerated 30 years, back in my community, activist, seeking to destroy that which they call mass incarceration. And that's my plight, that's my fight, and that's what I live for, to free my brothers and sisters that is deserving. And Prop 17 is extremely important to me because I'm paying my taxes, right? And so I should have a say in what you do with my money and who you paying with my money. And I don't have a say in that right now. And I wouldn't mind if they would stop taking my money, if they don't want me to vote, because I can use every dime they be taking. But that's what I'm here to speak about, is the injustice of Prop 17 and how we can make history in righting the wrong of Prop 17. Thank you.
I want every dime of that. that was great. So as I see right now in my gallery view, Flaco.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Ryan Flaco Rising. Man, that's a hard one to follow right there, John. You know what I'm saying? Institute of Impacted Leaders. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Me, I'm a formerly incarcerated student here at UC Santa Barbara. I got out in 2015, August 12th of 2015 from New Folsom State Prison. The day I got out, Hugo Pinel was executed. When they let me out that day, at that morning at 7 a.m., they yelled over the intercom, "Rising, cell 201, you're paroling. You served your debt to society." I served my debt to society. But yet, when I came out to society and they opened up that gate from the devil's playground and let me out, I couldn't vote. I was transient, and there was no resources allocated to help uplift me and help me helped guide me to success. Luckily, when I came home, I found college and I was able to get into the community college, and I was able to uplift myself because parole and probation had another agenda. Their agenda was to ship me right back upstate and to get me in that returning revolving door back into the system. And the reason why Prop 17 is super important to me is that they told me I served my debt to society. I gave 7 years of my life for the choices that I made that led me into prison. And that was from the community. And that's what the judge told me. The judge told me, you got to go serve 7 years of your life in prison because you made a choice that was against the law. And when I went up there and I served that debt, why can't I come home and be a free, thriving citizen like the rest of everyone else? Why do I have to come home and not be able to vote, not be able to get a job, not be able to get an apartment, not be able to survive? You know, and that's the trap of the system. That's the spider web of the system. And that's what we need to dismantle today by saying yes on Prop 17. We need to allow the formerly incarcerated to mobilize their vote and show up to this corrupt system that's been using us as a way to generate tax revenue profits to wreck this mass incarceration project that's really destroyed our communities. It hasn't served and protected nobody. Instead, it's done the complete opposite. It's destroyed us and put us all in tents. And so that's why we got to go yes on 17. And I'll pass that on to the next.
Wow, that was truly amazing with the spiderweb idea. Veronica, you want to chime in? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Veronica Hernandez. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm directly impacted, formerly incarcerated. I was tried as an adult at 16 years old and served 10.5 years in California State Prison. I'm currently a case manager at Home ESF in San Francisco's Mission District. I work with at-risk youth, ages 14 to 24. I actually work in a neighborhood that I caused a lot of harm in growing up, and I strive to make a positive difference now in these youth lives. Show them that change is possible, show them that people like us from our neighborhoods can do it all. You know, it doesn't matter what your past is, it doesn't matter what limitations you may have been given, that you can strive to get past that. For me, Prop 17 is very personal. You know, we've served our time, it's time done, and we should have our right to vote. You know, we're out here, we're paying taxes, we're raising families, we're just as part of these communities as everybody else. And instead of continuing to basically, you know, be deprived of our right to vote, we should be encouraged to re-enter society and have a stake in our community and not continue to be punished by having our voting rights denied. So it's very important that we restore these rights because it's a part of reentry. You know, as everybody knows that's formerly incarcerated, you know, when you come home, you face a number of barriers, whether it's employment barriers, discrimination based on your record. Sometimes it can be difficult to get a good paying job. And, you know, we need this, you know, we need this community support, civic engagement. It makes our community safer. And when people feel that they're valued members of their community, that their voices matters and their concerns are addressed, you know, it's good all the way around, because not only does it make our community safer, but it's very encouraging to re-engage in the community. And there's evidence out there that shows that people who become civically engaged, you know, they're more than 3 times likely to never be arrested again, which is great. And we need the support, you know, to feel like we're a part of a community that we are actually a part of. So that's why I say we need to get this passed. We need to vote yes.
Woo, that sounds really fire. All the panelists, they're dropping right there, homie. Man, I ain't gonna lie though. That's most definitely. So to move forward, well, I'm gonna start asking the questions for the panelists. And the first question was actually gonna be can you tell us about yourself and how have you been impacted by incarceration and have you voted before? So it kind of pretty much be open up to anybody. I'm not too sure like how you want how should we go through with this, like raising hands or
I think raising hands would be a good idea.
yeah, okay then. How do I see if somebody's raising their hand?
On the right-hand side, on the column where it says participants, you'll see when someone raises their hand. Right now, Flaco has his hand up.
Okay, then Flacco go forward.
What's up, everyone? So I've been impacted by, you know, the criminal, the punishment system, the injustice system, the, you know, I've been impacted so many different ways, but one of the ways is at the age of 6 years old, they told me I had ADHD and they told me I needed medication. And that was the start of the school to prison pipeline. And they started to teach me that I needed drugs in order to be normal. And by the age of 12 years old, these drugs had me acting erratically. You know, I was taking Prozac and Enfamine, and I was taking Ritalin, and they were making me act out in ways I probably never would have acted out if wasn't taking them. And by the age of 12, I was locked up. And when I got locked up, it was another peel project where they were, you know, making me take all these medications, and these medications were eating me up. And then when I came home after being locked up at the age of 17, from 12 to 17, I was trapped. And when I came home, I felt like I didn't belong out here. I didn't feel safe out here. And I would just use hardcore drugs to like make myself feel good, to make myself feel like I belonged out here, to suppress these feelings of not belonging. And that led me right back inside. And so I was trapped in the system from the age of 12 until the age of 32. And I never got out. And this really messed me up. I didn't get no life, you know, and that was a waste of human capital, you know. And now I'm here in this university. I got a 3.89 grade point average. I'm doing all this great work for the community, but imagine if the community wouldn't have never turned their back on me. What would I have been doing at the age of 15, 18 years old? You know, so we have to come together and we have to realize that there's 2.3 million people incarcerated in this country. That's a waste of human capital. And those individuals could have the answers to the most pressing questions that are really hindering our communities. And it's important that we get in there. They could have the cure to cancer. They could have the cure to HIV. And instead we just throw them and we warehouse them, and instead we use them to get tax revenue, and we use them as a source of capitalizing off of them. We turn them into a commodity. And so my whole message to everyone is we got to get yes on Prop 17, because when they come home, they're now a part of the community. So why are we going to exclude anybody from our community from having voting rights?
Woo! Whoa, that was a lot right there. That was a lot. Yeah, that was a lot right there. I'm not too sure who's next up. Anybody else want to go next? Or should I restate the question again? Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I'm not, sorry about that. I thought my internet was glitching again. I'm not too sure who's up next or who wants to go up next.
I guess it's open to anybody that would like to answer. If not, or do you have any other questions?
Oh, so you want to move on to the next question?
If I believe if no one has, no one else wants to answer it, if that's good with everyone.
Oh, okay then. For the sake of time then. So to you. So let's see. Oh, the audio cut off again. Damn. Okay. So the second question will be, why is voting important to you? Will be John. You.
Yeah. Why is voting important to me? Because I am a community leader. I am an activist. I'm a coach, a father, a mentor, a husband, a brother, a friend. Just to name a few things of what I am. People listen to me. People follow me, right? I'm sitting with my family and people in my community, getting them involved in the voting process who never cared about voting at all. But see, when they sent me to the university for 30 years, I understood what the power of a vote was, right? So to empower my community, I'm getting them to vote and to use their voice and to understand that their voice do matter and that it counts only if you use it, right? And it hurts my heart because, I have to drive people to the polls. I have to drive my family to the poll, but I have to sit outside in the car. I have to sit outside in the car. Now, mind you, remember what I was saying? A lot of people don't even know anything about these propositions. A lot of people didn't even know voting was happening, right? But I'm so civically engaged and connected, right, to my community and to my people, right? And I understand that that's my way of making amends. I did the things I did in my community because I felt powerless. I didn't care. I didn't have no stake. I didn't care about what happened to that community because it wasn't my community, right? So, and understanding the power to vote, and not being able to exercise that, it's bad enough that I'm seen as one, as a felon, two, as a black man, right? Now, three, I can't vote, so I'm a third-class citizen. Imagine that. A third-class citizen. I did not commit treason against my country. I was a boy that broke the law, right? Changed, right? Became a productive member, an active member in my community, active, right? But yet I can't vote. It breaks my heart, but I know this, the people are not asleep. See, there's people I meet like me don't see color, we just see hearts, right? this bill, right, is I mean, this proposition is of the heart, right? Because what you're doing is right and injustice, right? How powerful is it for you just to vote to right and change history with just your vote? I'm awoken. I understand what that power is like. I want to be a part of that. I want to vote with those that's people that's like-minded like me. I want to know there's more people that think like me. So it kills my heart that I can't. But one thing for sure is we can make it happen by voting yes on Prop 17.
Wow, that was hella powerful. I ain't gonna lie, that was mad powerful right there. The third citizen, that one hit me right there. That was how you really articulated. Wow. Yeah. So, and let me see. So anybody else want to chime in on that question? Any other panelists? Veronica?
I want to say that biases in the system mean that poor people and people of color are more likely than others to be convicted of crimes and lose their voting rights than wealthy people who, you know, as we all know, can afford lawyers, you know, and because of this, people of color, their communities are affected more by this, and these are most of the time people who didn't understand or didn't know about voting or that their voice even matters, especially when you grow up in communities where there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of police murders, there's a lot of just things like that in general that will make people have a false belief that what they say doesn't matter, you know, or their needs don't matter, or they're not being looked at, or nobody cares. So that's where, again, you know, that's where Prop 17 comes in, and that's why it's important, because in order for us to make a difference in these communities, you know, our communities need to understand, and they need to know, and they need to know that they are valued and that they can make a difference, you know. And for, you know, working in a community that I'm very familiar with, grew up in, and working with people who have made the same mistakes that I have made, or working with youth that struggle with things that I struggled with growing up, I feel it's very important to show them that, you know, we are valued members of the community, and that people do care about our issues, our problems, and things that affect us, our families, our loved ones, our communities. So that's why it's important to me.
No, that's real stuff right there. That, you know, we don't run America, but we make America run though. So we have Flacco. He want to chime in.
Yeah, you know, there was amazing points that were made by John and Veronica. You know, one thing that I've recognized, you know, growing up and just coming from these last communities and you know, incarcerated predominantly all my life, is that they try to depoliticize us, try to make it so that we feel like our vote doesn't count, and they try to block us out from having a vote so that they can continue to pass all these bills and all these policies and all these things that criminalize our communities, and that I pay $15.7 billion to the Department of Correction. $15.7 billion goes to the California Department of Corruption. Like, wrap your mind around that for a second. When I cruise downtown LA, all I see is tents on the sidewalk. When I cruise downtown Santa Barbara, all I see is tents on the sidewalk. When I cruise downtown San Diego, all I see is tents on the sidewalk. $15.7 billion is being extracted from our communities to house 168,000 people and the California Department of Corrections. $15.7 billion. Where is that money going? It's going into their personal accounts. It's going into their houses. It's going into their cars while we're all living in tents. We have to show up and we have to vote yes on Prop 17 because it's time for us to rise up because they've excluded all of us from voting rights, voting privileges, so that they can continue to grow this budget that's at $15.7 billion today. And it's continuing to expand. Before Jerry Brown left, Jerry Brown gave another $7 billion budget for rehabilitation services. No rehabilitative services in our communities. We live in a recidivism factory. We come home, they got the recidivism factory set up so that we go right back upstate. They take away all our rights. They take away where we can't get jobs. They take away all the bare necessities to survive so that we'll go back to prison. We are residual income to this system to continue to extract all of our tax revenue into their accounts. And they're not serving and protecting our communities whatsoever. They are making profit off of our communities, and they are using marginalized groups that reside in our communities to attack, criminalize, and send upstate. And I'm telling you right now, like, we gotta come together as a community and realize this. We gotta end all this capitalistic scheme that's stacked against us, gots to go. And we have to rise up, and it's gonna start with us coming together and realizing that we need to be politically engaged in what's happening at this state capitol. Because if they depoliticize us like they've been very well at doing and excluding us from being involved in what's taking place with our tax revenue, we will continue to see mass incarceration grow. And now it's going to be a digital incarceration. They're going to digitalize incarcerating all of us. And if you look around right now in Isla Vista, where I'm at, they got fences going up. They got fences going up right now in my community to alleviate partying and all this and that, supposedly. And they spend $1 million on these fences. And I'll tell you what I see happening in our future if we don't come together and start to dismantle all this. They're going to put fences in all of our communities, and we're going to have to go through checkpoints. And we're going to have to use our phones and get tracked to go to the next spot. And there's a lot of things that are happening. And I see hope. I see us coming together and fighting against this and dismantling this and ending it and not allowing it to flourish to what they want it to become. So let's stand together and vote yes on Prop 17.
Whoa, you got me feeling like I'm in a social class right now. That was pretty big right there. Yeah. Wow. So moving on to the next question. Wow, that was pretty tough. All three of the panelists be dropping too much gems. I don't know, my brain's about to blow up. So anyway, so since you have been home, have you ever been, how have you been contributing to your community?
Will you rephrase that question again? I didn't catch it.
Oh, I apologize. Maybe the internet's going out again. Sorry about that. So since you have been home, how have you been contributing to your community?
Let's see.
John?
Okay, let's just start with me being on here right now, right? We can just be right here, right now. We don't have to go to everything else I'm doing, I'm done. This is a service to my community to speak about this injustice of Prop 17 and why it's so important, right? Because it just not had me, and my story is not different from many others from our community. And we've been caught up in the system from 12, by 12, and definitely by 14 years of age, we're already caught up in the system and headed to prison, right? But we're older now. So what people got to understand is it's not us anymore. They want to get your kids now. See, they're not thinking about that. They want to get your kids. They want your kids to be disenfranchised. They want your kids not to be able to vote. They want your kids to be part of that revolving door. They want your kids to be part of the belly of the beast, right? Caught inside where you're making pennies, where you are a slave, right? Forever a slave to the system until they feel like no longer playing with you and they let you off probation or parole, right? So by our voting and energizing those in our community to vote, because it gives us more inspiration, right? I do it because that's who I am, but I want to do it because I want to march beside my brothers and sisters and not have to push them, but be able to march with them by having the right to vote.
Oh, that was powerful right there. That was genuinely powerful. Dang. That even got my heart pumping right there. I ain't gonna lie. Oh shit. I mean, excuse me right there. Anybody else want to chime in? Any other panelists? Flaco?
Yeah, man, it's hard to follow John. You know what I'm saying? Like John really spoke power into the people right now, and it's hard to follow you, John. You know, everything John said is pretty much what I could say. You know what I'm saying? Everything John said. I've contributed so much since I've been home since 2015. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with underground scholars, building the prison to school pipeline. I'm up here in this UC Santa Barbara school that's, been predominantly a very white privileged school, and predominantly has excluded folks from, marginalized communities for a lot of years, and has a reputation of that. But I showed up to this space and we've been doing it. You know what I'm saying? We building the underground scholars here now, and we're letting them know, like, we're tired of being the ones getting stepped on. We're tired of being the ones being used. We're tired of being the ones being exploited for, profit. At the end of the day, like, we're showing up to these spaces that are really uncomfortable, and we're speaking up for ourselves, and we're saying, man, like, why'd you guys go that route? And we're learning, and we're politicizing ourselves, and we're understanding the political atmosphere that's going on around us, and we refuse to be pawns, in the scheme of things, and so I've been really fighting hard to tell all the formerly incarcerated, get together, it's time to build a union, because the only way we're going to tear down this Department of Corruption union and this police union that's been destroying our communities and using our communities to build their profits and to buy their fenced houses and their nice little Mustang cars, is to come together as one and stop falling into these traps and come together as one and get political and start to rise up and show them that we are politicians in our own right and that we deserve to oversee our communities. We don't need y'all at the forefront of our communities using us and exploiting us to get more tax revenue into your pockets. Instead, we're showing up and saying, it's us now. We're tired of what you all have done, and we're going to dismantle this system that's in place, and we're gonna ruin all the capitalism that y'all have been able to generate off of our backs by stepping on us and criminalizing us and locking us out of our communities and locking us out of being leadership in our communities and turning us around when we come home and sending us right back upstate into these plantations that you all call the penitentiary.
Woo, yeah, okay. Got me fired up out here. Woo. Veronica?
Yeah. When I came home, I had the opportunity to intern at the Ella Baker Center in Oakland to do policy work. And one of the first things that, and actually one of the best things I've done since I've gotten out that I felt the most accomplished by was being a storyteller and lobbying for SB 1391 to stop 14 and 15-year-olds from being tried as adults in California. While I was incarcerated, I had made a promise to myself that once I got out, I would do everything that I could do to prevent other youth from experiencing what I experienced. And so it was really great to do that. On the daily, I just tried to spread wisdom, spread knowledge to anyone I feel who needs it, to the youth I work with, to people from my past who I run into, just to show them that, that to never give up hope and to just share everything I've learned. At my job specifically, like I've mentioned, I work with youth 14 to 24. These are all youth that have experienced what I've experienced, or I've experienced similar things that I've experienced in a neighborhood that I grew up in like they have. So it's very fulfilling at the end of the day to know that I'm making a difference in their lives and just being a positive example, being somebody that they can relate to and somebody that they can take knowledge and wisdom for. So it gets pretty personal. I get deeply involved in their lives, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. Making a difference at the end of the day is what it's all about.
Wow, that was truly amazing. I even worked on that bill too, 1391, a few years back. But yeah, other than that though, yeah, that's truly amazing. Like it has the ability to pass down the story and the knowledge down to the next generation as like the elders. As for the next question, well, we are getting short in time because I do want to make time for the Q&A and the other resources. So, probably as for the last question, I would say, why should people vote yes on Prop 17? Flacco?
I'll kick this one off. It's hard to follow John. It's hard to follow Veronica straight up. They're spitting gems and knowledge. But you should vote yes on Prop 17 because I served my debt to society. I went up there. I gave you all 7 years. I went up there. And some of my brothers and sisters have gone up there and given you 10, 15 years of their life. Why shouldn't they be able to come home and vote? Why shouldn't they be able to come home and be a part of the community? When they let us out that prison gate, we are now community members. We are now your neighbors. And my whole thing is, who do you want to come home and be your neighbor? Do you want somebody to come home and be your neighbor that is excluded from the community, that's made to feel like they don't belong in this community? Because I'll tell you what's going to end up happening is they're going to rebel against the community. They're going to act out against the community, and they're going to continue to fall in that trap. So it's time for us to come together as one community and realize that as long as I'm your neighbor or she's your neighbor or anyone that's coming home from that prison industrial complex and the gates have opened up and they're no longer around behind that razor fence, they are your community members. And even the ones that are behind the fence are your community members today. And they're even counted inside the when they go out to do the count of the community and see where everyone's at, the census, they even count those who are in prison in the census. So they are righteous community members as well. But today we're voting Prop 17, yes on Prop 17 and voting it in because those who are outside that fence are now community members. And that's why we need to vote yes on Prop 17. And that's why we need to get out and vote, period. You know, this is a huge election right now, you know, and there's a lot of things that we're going to go through in the next few years. But as long as we're one community and we're together as one, we cannot be stopped. We will continue to flourish. We will continue to win this war that capitalism has waged on us poor, straight up.
Okay, Mike just dropped. Wow. Any other panelists want to chime in?
He did that.
He just did that. Veronica?
I'll chime in, although I do agree. I'll say that we have to vote yes on Prop 17 because we can't have an elected government that represents all of us when there are members in our communities that are being excluded from elections and denied the ability to participate in a democracy, because they say that this is a democracy. And, you know, and it's stronger when it's fair, and it's stronger when everybody gets to be a part of it. You know, Prop 17 is going to affect over 50,000 people. That's a lot of people. You know, can you imagine how stronger our communities and our democracy is going to be with over 50,000 people? That's a lot, you know, and like I've said, you know, stripping the right to vote from formerly incarcerated people, it's a form of voter suppression. And it's out of step with democracy. That's not what democracy is. You know, it includes everybody. So that's who we need. We need everybody.
Ooh, America, you better practice what you preach, homie. You slacking. Yeah. So well, I'm gonna step off and start letting the other facilitators start facilitating for the Q&A.
Hey guys, I'm Lindsay. I'll be facilitating Q&A, so if anyone wants to raise their hand, I'll call them out. Also, this might look a little different just because we had a little trouble getting participants to come, so.
Well, I have a question.
John and Gilbert, yeah, I see a couple hands going.
Okay. Maybe this is gonna be open for all the panelists. I wanted to check in and say, like, how was it like being released from incarceration and understanding that policy has a major effect on your life while understanding policy. How do you understand policy? Was it through like particular agency, was like support from the outside, or was just more like a self knowledge integrate the policy work? Did you caught the question right, or did I got cut off?
I heard it.
John, I'm gonna say this. As far as, I mean, you get it where you get it from, right? When you seeking information, you seeking knowledge, you don't care where you get it from. You don't turn down nothing, right? So we read everything, we watch everything, and listen, right, to some of the things that we hear, but we study, you know, and we stay engaged in the community and asking questions. and writing to the free world and corresponding with the free world. No matter where you are, nothing stops you from being civically engaged or from growing, not even prison, right? And I like to say I was one of them people. I was never locked up. You know what I mean? I was always free. Even when I was in prison, I was free. I said I wasn't in prison. I was in a university of higher learning of self and others, right? That's what got me on the path, right? To wanting to understand about politics, about law, and how they treated me is what first got me started. When I realized how I was being treated, I didn't like it. So I went to understand how they was able to do it to me and how they able not to be able to do it to me ever again. Right. And having that, and that is empowering for us when you're talking about those that's incarcerated, right? It's a feeling of oppression, right? It does something to the pride, right? But when we fight and we stand up and regain that knowledge, we remain powerful, or even more powerful than we was before we left the streets, right? And in coming out into the free world, and we was doing that inside, right? See, they tried to make sure we had no voice. They tried to take away our voice. But we went for it. But we understand now we have a voice. That's why right now I'm yelling at you. You hear me? You know what I mean? Yeah, man. We have a voice, man, and we want to vote. We want to utilize that voice, man. We want to be able to vote. And empower our people with the energy and the motivation to vote by watching us do it ourselves and not just tell them, right? Because I'm a doer, man. I'm not with nobody, show me. And I can't even show them. Allow me to show them the right thing to do and how to do it. That's all I'm asking for. That's all we asking for, right? Is to give us the power to be fully leaders in our community. That's all the way from the hood, right? All the way from the penitentiaries, all the way to the ballot boxes. With that, I close.
Can I say something?
Go for it. I just saw your question in the chat.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I had a question there, and that's what I was asking is, how can we reach the rest of the community that aren't in these academic spaces, but that do need the rest of this knowledge, that don't have the capacity to come in and learn about these things that are very important within our society, that are marginalized, that cannot be on the internet, that don't have access to this, like their time is not spent in the ways that I feel like they wish it could be spent. So, and those are the people that I feel like we need to reach out to the most, right? So what can we do to be more proactive in those spaces that are not academic?
Yeah, we gotta get out there and go trench digging. We gotta get out there. Yeah. I seen
Yes, sir.
up the boots. He was like, we gotta put our boots on. That's the only way. They lock us out. It starts in school. They make the curriculum so boring and so just not engaging that we just want to quit school. We don't even want to be involved in it. Or they just make coming to school where we feel like we don't belong. We're criminalized. We come to school and we got these resource officers pulling us to the side and humiliating us.
Push out kids.
And so they work really hard to depoliticize us and dumb us down, like make us feel like we're dumb. And then when we go out and we try to work and we try to find jobs, there's only limited amounts of them, construction, some low level jobs that we that's all we could ever amount to, with no possibilities of opportunities. And so we got to get out there to our people and let them know that that's not the way it's supposed to be. And we got to go out and we got to shake their hands, and it's got to be credible messengers, folks who come from that and have walked all the way through it, and now we're at the top. Like, damn, like I need to get back to the rest of them, so that, you know, John had made an important point, in Veronica too, so that our great-great-grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our grandchildren, and our children today don't have to suffer what this system has made it to be right now, in this reality that we're all living upon. So we got to get out there. We got to engage our communities, and we got to let our communities know, like, you know, we used to say, they used to tell us, like, oh, nah, school sucks. You know, that used to be our little motto in the hood, like, you know, school's for fools, like, you know, like fuck school, you know. But nah, we need school. We need to get in there. We need to come up into these universities, and we need to get these PhDs, because they've gone to the wrong people. And unfortunately, when you look around at the world today and you see what's taking place in our communities, and these leaders that have these PhDs, they've done nothing to uplift us. They've done everything to suppress us and oppress us and keep us at the bottom and continue to step on us. So, you know, that's the way we get out there and we engage everyone. We got to come together as credible messengers, and we got to, our allies and our accomplices in this work. You know what I'm saying? Like the folks that showed up today, and that's how we're gonna push forward, and we're gonna get all our people to sign on and go vote and dismantle this corrupt system that's preyed on all of us.
I see, John, your hand is up.
Yeah, I mean, our plan is, I'm from South Sacramento. Our plan is we going to knock on every door. We showing up. I told them, I mean, I'm like the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm going to be at your door every day, right? Trying to sell you this right here until you buy it, right? whether you like it or not. I'm not bothering you. I'm not bothering you, you know. But one day you're going to take this book, right? And it's about voting. And I think it's in the presentation too, right? When you're dealing with people that's from trauma and lives in trauma, there's a certain way that you approach them, right? And so those scholars that he talked about, they have no credibility. So they can't talk to no one that's from where we come from, because we know it's about money for them, and they can't feel what it's like to be hungry, what it's like to have to eat top ramen soups, and what it's like to have punk ass hot dogs all the time, right? They can't feel that, right? So, and they don't want to go to the university, right, that we went to. See, we can go to their university, but they don't want to go to our university. They don't want to go to where we live at and live that out. They don't, they'll get that in the book. You hear me? They're going to hire little Timmy and ask Timmy about it, and Timmy going to tell them, and that Timmy going to tell them how it is, and then they're going to try to, work that on us, right? Wow, but no, for real. No, see my stomach right now. No, but no, we got to get out there and actively like get involved. I worked at it was like 4 of us. All right, I'm not gonna call no names of this organization, but we all were formerly incarcerated, right? All of us did at least 30 years or more in prison. And they put us on these 3 school campuses in Oakland, California, working for this organization, right? And they wonder why every time a child got in trouble, the child came to me, or they had to send the child to me because they couldn't deal with him. They said, well, how do you get him to do everything that you want him to do? I worked from 1st grade to 9th grade. He said, I've been working with this kid from 1st grade to 7th grade. He's never did anything that I asked him to do. You asked him to do it, he does it right away. He is me. That's why. Right? So you call on me every time these kids get in trouble, but little did they know that we were all felons. See, they didn't know that part. See, they wouldn't have let me on the campus had they known I was a felon. This same guy that finds money when the school runs out of money to make sure that I stay on that campus. He found the money, right? The kids told him if he's not here, we gonna act out, right? I don't endorse that, but kids know the truth. Kids know the real, right? And we need to be connected to those children in every way because we are those children. So we can relate to what those children are going through. Only people that understands that kind of trauma can help with that kind of trauma. They're hiring the wrong people. You change the vote, we change that. We get up in there and help our kids and yours. Therefore, all our community be enriched and blessed by doing so.
Thank you for that, John. I think Lysandra wanted to say another thing. I think you're muted still.
Thank you, John, for saying that, and both of you guys for commenting on how you would reach the community. And the reason why I asked that question, I'm going to go back to, is because as we look back in history and when, you know, things started becoming revolutionary and we started having civil wars and Cesar Chavez was going to all the farms and, you know, we had rallies here and people were getting rounded up and they were getting fired up and they were workers and they were working, but yet they were marching all the way up to Sacramento, you know, to testify for their rights. And so that's what I'm saying. That was the most powerful group of people, and they weren't even in an educational setting. You see what I'm saying? And along the way, they were getting other people that were working in the farms that were like, just looking over like, oh, wow, that, you know, I want to know what that's about. And you had, you know, Dolores and Caesar and rallying up, you know, these troops in the farms. And so that's what I'm saying is like, how can we rally up these troops that have no idea the conversations we're having in these spaces, but these are the ears that need to be hearing this most of all. And I feel like that's the most important aspect. And you know, the Prop 17 and all that, because we're leaving out, as you guys were both saying, or all three of you were saying, is a huge part of our democracy, you know, that is involved more than anybody in the world. Like, we are the system. We're the system. We've been involved in the system. We're a part of the system. The system's been, you know, getting money off of us. You know, we're paying money back to them. So we pretty much are taxpayers too. We are giving up all of our everything, plus our time, plus our lives, plus our families, you know, for them to just disregard who we are. You know, and so that's what I'm saying is that, yes, these conversations are important and all these spaces are important that go to these universities, but, you know, we need to reach those that don't have any idea the rights they have, you know, the voices they have, the choices they have, you know, what they can and can't say. You know, they see a cop or they see an ICE immigration officer and they freeze and they give up their name and they give up their this and they give up their that. Like, that shouldn't be their problem. It's their employer's problem, who is part of an American democracy, you know. So it goes beyond the worker, but the worker and you know, the formerly incarcerated are the ones that need to hear this message most of all. And it seems like they isolate these groups of population so they won't revolutionize. And I feel like those are the ears that we need to get to the most. So thank you for your guys' responses.
So if Prop 17 doesn't pass, we need to get a march going, and we need to march up to the Capitol is what I'm hearing. We need to take it back to Cesar Chavez and Malcolm X and, you know what I'm saying? If it doesn't go through, then that's the next move. You know what I'm saying? We need to march up to the Capitol, and we need to rally the troops from SD all the way up to Sacramento, just like it was done back in the day, is what I'm hearing.
And I'm gonna be up front leading the song, big dog, on the trip.
Hey, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we deserve our votes, and period, you know? And if we ain't gonna get them, we're gonna march up there, and we're gonna rally every worker from every single component of this disgusting capitalist system to walk behind us up there until it's delivered.
I don't know if anyone else has a question, but if they don't, then I could ask one. Okay. Just because you named some influential figures just now, I was just wondering if any of you guys have any anyone in politics or any activists or anyone that you're really inspired by around you or you really look up to.
Can I answer that?
Go for it. Yeah.
I mean, the people that I'm inspired by, right, is some of these people on online right now. I look at these young students, right, and the fire that they have, right, at the young age that they're at, and it moves me because it's like I'm seeing them do the same thing that the adults is doing, and they're doing it right now as young children, right? And so it's like to have these children a part of this right now, I feel that we may be influencing our next president. Not 20 years from now, not 30 years from now, we talking 2 or 3, right? In the grooming process, right? They far advanced, man, when it comes to the political fight. And I'm always encouraged to see that. That's what gives me hope, right? That's why I stay connected to the youth, because the youth tells me not what the future is. The hell with lying to these kids and telling them that they are the future. That's a lie to hold them off. Like they told us our votes don't count, right? To hold us off from getting to the voting polls, to making a difference. No, the kids are right now. They're not the future. They are right now. Whatever they want, they can make happen right now, right? So we're going to stop lying to the kids, right? We're going to stop lying to them, right? We're going to stop that, right? But yeah, man, and then to see my brothers and sisters come from out of the belly of the beast, right? In that hidden university, right? And some of it could have been the dungeon for some. Whatever your experience is, you have a name for whatever that place is that you left, and it wasn't good, right? We try to make it whatever we want it to be, right? But it is hell, right? So to see my brothers come out and be active and sisters come out and be active the way that they doing, I want to honor y'all, bro, and my sisters, you kings and queens, for doing what y'all do, man. You know, and I want to thank the brothers and sisters, right, that haven't been on that journey, but is willing to embark on this journey to make it better for us, right? I honor you as well. And I honor all the people that is doing their part, man. Doing their part, even if it's just vote. You don't have to vote for what I want you to vote for. Just vote, right? Because that's all we want to do. That's all we asking you to do, is just let us vote, right? We not care. I don't care what party you vote for. You vote for how you vote, right? That's you. And I'm going to vote how I vote. It doesn't have anything to do with what type of man you are or what type of woman you are, because of how you vote. That's just where you stand on that issue. Allow us to stand on our issues too, right? By voting yes on Prop 17.
Wow. Okay. Does anyone else want to answer the question or?
I'll chime in there. John's really, that's like, thank you, John. Like, and just like John, like I concur everything he just said. Just, his shirt says it right there, and so for myself, being next to, my family, being next to, Gilbert and all the leaders that showed up today to have this conversation. That's where I get my inspiration from. But the greatest inspiration that impacts me the most and that keeps me pushing and fighting is when I get a letter from my homie inside the pen. And he's telling me, Flacco, it looks like I might get out because of these new juvenile laws. Flacco, it looks like I'm going to get out because, I served 37 years and they just passed this new juvenile law that went retroactive. That right there keeps me so inspired, so motivated to hear somebody that I did time with that was in the cell with me, that had it in their mind that they were never going to get free. They were never going to come home. But yet we came out here and we fought and we showed up for them, and we didn't fall in any of the traps that they have set up out here to make them look bad. And I get that letter and I get that piece of art, and it's on a sheet and it's in pen and there's a letter with that piece of art, and I get some paper, origami, prison origami. I don't know if you guys have ever seen some prison origami. I think my wife could show you some this downstairs, but I'm telling you right now, when I get those letters from them and they're excited and they're motivated and they have hope, that hope is what motivates me. That hope is what inspires me, because my hope is to see that we don't have this in the future, that we have restorative practices in our communities. We have healing justice in our communities where we're healing each other and we're uplifting each other, and we're no longer suffering the economic, disgusting capitalist system that's destroying all of us and turning us against each other, turning us in this individualistic and mindset, throwing us in a bucket like we're crabs and telling us if you step on each other and get out, you're with us. And if you don't, you're stuck in there in the misery and pain that's right there, that we call democracy, that we call freedom, that we celebrate all year long in multiple different ways. But yet we're all stuck and we're not truly free. That's what motivates me. And thank you.
Wow.
Well. Oh, my bad. Let me go ahead.
It's all good. Thank you guys so much for answering the questions. It's definitely really inspirational to hear you guys talk about your experience, especially through like an opportunity that UCSB is hosting. So thank you also to UCSB. I do want to leave some time for, I believe, Jordan to go over references at the end of this meeting. So I'll pass the mic on.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for our panelists for sharing their stories and letting us know just how important why Prop 17 needs to be passed and change needs to happen. I'm going to be offering a few resources for getting more information about Prop 17 and more about how you yourself can contribute to this whole movement as a whole. So we do have a website, yeson17.vote, and then we are very active on our social media pages. So we have an Instagram, which is at yesonprop17. We also have the students account, which is run by the student team, and that's Students for Prop 17. And we also have a Twitter, and that's called Free the Vote California. And on our website, yes, on Prop 17, there's a tab called Take Action. And so that has just an overall really organized format for more information about Prop 17 and how it impacts California's voting. And then if you want to contact Prop 17 directly, we have an email. We have two actually. info@yeson17.vote and media@yeson17.vote. So thank you.
Wow. Well, it's almost to the end. Anybody have closing remarks?
Yeah, I definitely just want to thank everyone who came today, and the panelists and Daisy for helping us set this up. It's a lot of the information that that was given out today is very valuable and important, and I appreciate everyone who shared their story. It's very important to tell folks, so to remind folks that voting is a human right at the end of the day. Taking someone's vote away is taking away someone's peace and being active in society. So I think this is really important, and I just want to thank everyone for their time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I want to say thank you as well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate for everybody's labor, especially the panelists. Like the whole was pretty it was pretty tough. I ain't gonna lie. The quota system, especially maintaining your health and your spirit, maintaining that warrior mind, especially during these tough times. We have to be collectively together as a chain link. So if somebody wanna like close it up with a last powerful remark, I could get there's the mic, spit some bars, whatever, drop it, just wrap it up type of thing.
I just say, this John, and I say, democracy denied for one is democracy possibly denied for all. When you leave room for injustice against a person or a group, it leaves it open for another person, possibly of another group, right? So the only way to correct that is to have justice for all and democracy for all. If it's not for all, then someone is being marginalized, right? Disenfranchised, right? And it happened and it stood long ago. Well, we can change that now, right? It don't stand today. It won't stand. If we don't change it at this election, we'll change it at the next one. And if we don't change it then, we're gonna change it the next one after that. But one thing for sure is we ain't gonna stop until it's changed, right? And we don't have to prolong it no more, right? We want what everyone else wants. We want it to be treated fair and just and humane. And that's what you will be doing when you vote yes on Prop 17. Free to hope by freeing to vote. Be blessed.
That was powerful right there. So that was the wrap of it, folks. Appreciate it. You know what I mean? It's very engaging things. It was dope. Very much, especially the panelists and everybody else that put the labor to it. So, ciao, folks.
Have a good night.
Right.
Got-
Nice to meet everybody. It was a blessing.
Thank you.
Hope this do work with y'all in the future.
Most definitely.
You got my number. Just chime in. Just call.